ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the Southeastern Conference.
And welcome everybody to Jordan-Hare Stadium, 46th meeting all time between Ole Miss and Auburn. Few have been as important as this one. They're both ranked for just the third time in series history, and this one with major implications in the SEC West. These two teams, along with Alabama, the one-loss teams in the division right now, and it's Auburn in control of its destiny in the SEC West. They've yet to play the Rebels, the Tide, or the two-loss Texas A&M Aggies. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Molly McGrath just about ready for kickoff. Ole Miss won the toss and deferred. Auburn elected to receive the kickoff from Caden Costa. And here's Nehemiah Pritchett, who does not reach the 20. Chopped down at the 18-yard line. So here's Bo Nix making his 32nd career start. But earlier in the season, second half of the game against Georgia State, he was benched. TJ Finley led them back to victory. And Todd, he certainly responded the way coaches would want a quarterback who had been benched to respond, playing some of his best football lately, including their last game 2 weeks ago against Arkansas.
That's the best that I've ever seen Bo Nix play against Arkansas, and he's been playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And I think that's why he's playing his best, still competing every day.
Tank Bigsby, the running back, they come out throwing, and they dump it off to the powerful sophomore, who's out to the 25-yard line. He's part of a three running back rotation. Both teams regularly use three running backs. Nix, a junior from Pinson, Alabama. And they will play with a fullback. It's John Samuel Schenker, who's a tight end, who lines up in front of Bigsby. He has the first down, bulls his way across the 35-yard line. Down on the field, Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, Bo Nix told me he's glad that he was benched. He said it completely changed him and reignited his competitive fire. He said he was playing it safe, trying to be perfect, and lost his intensity, but he has that killer instinct back, and he's never felt more confident in his career, and he knows it'll take a special performance to win tonight, saying he's ready to match their offensive firepower and make this game a shootout if it comes to it, Sean.
Two quarterbacks with similarities, Bo Nix and Matt Corral. Both can hurt you with passing and running. On target to Xavier Capers, just his 5th catch of the season. Good for a first down out near midfield.
Nice job by the offensive line. Ole Miss brought a little pressure that time. 5-man rush, everybody picked up. Nice clean pocket for Bo Nix to throw the football down the field.
Gain of 13 on the completion of the sophomore Capers. Jarquez Hunter, freshman in at running back now. He has a hole. And he's powerful at 202 pounds. A.J. Finley, junior free safety, made the tackle for Ole Miss. It's an improving defense for the Rebels in year 2 under Lane Kiffin, with DJ Durkin as the coordinator. They held LSU to 17 points in a home win last week at Oxford, as they beat the Tigers on Eli Manning Day. Jarquez Hunter slipped on this absolutely perfect grass field as he tried to make a cut. Chance Campbell nearby for the Ole Miss defense.
A little momentum for Auburn to start this drive. Now the first big third down play of the ball game, 3rd and 8. Right around midfield for the Tigers.
Bo Nix told us he had hurt his shoulder prior to that Georgia State game. Didn't prepare as well as he should have. Spent a lot of time rehabbing that shoulder. Had no problem with being benched. He's fully healthy now. The son of a coach. He's in trouble. And this is what he can do, and Matt Corral as well. They'll be fun to watch all night long. He dives for the first down marker, and it looks like he came up about a yard short. Dean Leonard chased him to the stick. It was Sam Williams, one of the leading sackmen in the country, who had the original pressure.
Well, Sam Williams just beat the right tackle. It was only a 3-man rush. But again, credit Bo Nix. This is what he does. Has a great feel for how to escape the pocket and extend plays, but just a hair short. And it looks like Auburn going to line up and go for it on the other side of the 50-yard line.
Under first-year head coach Brian Harsin here after a successful 7-year run at Boise State. Straight ahead. First down for Tank Bigsby.
This is the way I think Auburn is going to challenge Ole Miss. Ole Miss is not very big on defense. They play 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and 6 defensive backs. And Auburn, even though they haven't run the ball this year consistently the way they've done in the past, they still are bigger and more physical, and they want to try to establish that. A lot of 2 tight ends already in this opening possession.
They had the tight end Shanker in the game. They had him split out to the right. Good throw. Nix on target. Kobe Hudson. First down at the 23-yard line. Tonight's impact players brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, Tank Bigsby, we've seen him already catching the ball and running it on defense. Otis Reese and Chance Campbell are 2 guys that transferred into this Ole Miss program, have made a big difference for this defense.
Here are the leading tacklers on the team. Campbell the leader, Reese number 2. Bigsby turns the corner, lowers the shoulder, and has a first down.
Well, right now, this is a physical game. Auburn winning at the line of scrimmage. Bigsby doing a nice job being patient. He likes to bounce it out. They want him to get a little bit more north-south running, but he's doing that in this possession. And a great first drive here for the Auburn Tiger offense.
Bigsby's already had 3 100-yard rushing games this season. The Tigers are 5-2. Hunter stacked up after a gain of 1. The only losses for Auburn at Penn State. And Brian Harsin really frustrated that they lost there 28-20. Felt they should have won the game, had chances to do it. And the other loss was back on October 9th here to the #1 team in the country, Georgia. And Coach Harsin felt they played better than the 34-10 score would indicate.
Well, I think the key is they have definitely improved as a team since that Penn State loss. And you can see it on the field and on tape on both sides of the ball.
Hard-nosed team under Harsin. They spent a lot of time on old-fashioned fundamentals. They have a hard-nosed quarterback who's in the end zone. Bo Nix caps the opening drive for the Tigers.
Luke Deal, the tight end, is going to get the key block. Beautiful job.
Helping open the door for the 11-yard touchdown run by Bo Nix. Anders Carlson on for the extra point. Senior kicker out of Colorado Springs, right down the middle. And an impressive opening drive. They went 82 yards in 11 plays.
Well, they did a great job of blocking in with the receivers and then leading out. And Bo Nix, it was a design quarterback run. They seal the edge. Great block by the tight end, Luke Deal. And Bo Nix knows how to find the end zone. Impressive first drive for the Auburn Tigers to take a 7-0 lead.
You're watching College Football Prime Time presented by Subway. And this is the SEC on ESPN. Temperature in the mid-50s here in the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn, Alabama. Anders Carlson kicking off into that light breeze at 5 miles per hour. Returnable for Jerry and Ely. He's out across the 25-yard line. So here comes the high-scoring Ole Miss attack led by Matt Corral. 24 total touchdowns, rushing and passing, 8th most in the country. His QBR of 87 is 4th best in the country. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Kenny Pickett ahead of him. And how about that touchdown interception ratio of 15-1? Tied for 3rd best in the country. Only Jack Plummer, Purdue, and Kenny Pickett better entering today's action.
Yeah, that's a big area of improvement. He threw 14 interceptions a year ago.
Both these teams have been very good at avoiding turnovers. On first down, it's Jerry and Ely dumped by Marcus Harris behind the line of scrimmage. And one of Lane Kiffin's concerns entering tonight, the middle of his offensive line, the center and guards, where they've battled some injuries against that excellent middle of the defensive line for Auburn. You'll see a lot of runs outside, including that one. Dontario Drummond on the end around, their leading wide receiver.
I think the other thing we'll see, and I think Auburn is fully prepared, is we're going to see a lot of quarterback run, because that gets an extra blocker for this Ole Miss offense. Matt Corral, 42 carries last 2 games.
He zings one. Connects on the slant for the first down to Dontario Drummond, senior from Laurel, Mississippi. His 37th catch of the year. That's twice as many as anybody else on the team. And they will go very quickly. They average 79 plays per game. 4th most in the country. They snap it every 21 seconds. Drummond went in motion. Corral tried to get it to Ely, running back. Kobe McLean in coverage. Lane Kiffin told us, Todd, I thought when the season started we had the best group of 3 wide receivers. Yep. Maybe individually not the best, but as a group, Mingo and Sanders along with Drummond would be the best. And Ben Brown, a stalwart at right guard, 40 straight starts, out after bicep surgery. Snoop Connor part of that rotation at running back. Corral right on target again. Ja'Cour Pearson the first down into Auburn territory to the 44-yard line, a gain of 12.
I think that's the best throw that Matt Corral makes, is the slant route. He is incredibly accurate on that throw.
Most accurate passer in Ole Miss history, 67% career. On target again. Drummond down to the 32 for 12 more, and the Rebels in the blink of an eye to the Tiger 32.
One thing Molly found out before the game, we may see Braylon Sanders in the red zone.
On the run, Snoop Connor to the 29. Sanders did not play last week in their game against LSU. He's been bothered by a hamstring, which he injured in their win at Tennessee. They were hoping he could play. They acknowledged if he did, it would be limited and apparently red zone only, is what Molly has learned from the Rebel sideline. After the play fake, on target again. First down inside the 10. It's the tight end Casey Kelly with his 6th catch of the year. That was the brother of Chad Kelly, the former Ole Miss quarterback. They spotted on the 10. Snoop Connor tackled by Tony Fair, defensive lineman. Number 90, right in the middle of that Auburn front.
Well, Braylon Sanders into the lineup now for the first time. They are in the red zone on the 9-yard line. He's at the top of the screen right there, number 13. Let's see if he's used as a decoy on this play or a targeted receiver.
Henry Parrish, the running back, he's an excellent receiver, 2nd on the team in receptions, and they send him out into a pass pattern. Corral checks it down, and it's dropped by Dontario Drummond.
It was a good throw. I think Drummond was just kind of getting ready to turn his head to see if he could get it into the end zone, and lost his concentration. But that was a catchable pass by Matt Corral. You always have to be aware of quarterback draw too on this 3rd down play, and Lane Kiffin, as we know, is not opposed to going for a lot of 4th down plays either.
They've gone for it on 4th down more than any team in the country. Leans heavily on the analytics. Play clock at 5. Play clock at 1. Design rollout for Corral. He's in trouble and chopped down behind the line of scrimmage by Jacoby McLean.
Jacoby McLean, one of their leaders on the defense. Here he is right here. He's just going to kind of mirror the quarterback, and as soon as he sees Corral try to start to run, he's going to attack. Well done. He waited, he was patient, and attacked at the right time.
Caden Costa, true freshman from Mandeville, Louisiana, has had an excellent freshman season, 7 out of 9. 29-yard try from just inside the right hash mark, and it is good. So each team has scored on its opening possession. We've already seen the talents of these two dual-threat quarterbacks on display. Nix, the 11-yard score for the Auburn touchdown.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by the Eat Fresh Refresh at Subway and in part by Lexus. Experience amazing.
It's already been a big football weekend here in Auburn, Alabama. Last night, Auburn High School hosted national powerhouse IMG Academy. Saw Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator, and head coach Brian Harsin there. Their sons both play for Auburn High School. Davis Harson's the backup quarterback, and Drew Bobo, the starting left tackle. He's already committed to play for Auburn next year. They gave IMG a game. They were ahead in the fourth quarter. IMG scored 2 late touchdowns. There's Mike Bobo in the middle, 127-17.
Yeah, I talked to Brian Harsin before the game. He said they really played well. Just couldn't finish it at the end.
Sean Shivers took the Caden Costa kickoff back to the 30-yard line. And we welcome you in the booth, Sean McDonough and Todd Blackledge. Delighted to have you with us. I think we've already had a glimpse of what we expect tonight. These two teams likely to go up and down the field, led by dynamic quarterbacks. In the case of Matt Corral, Lane Kiffin still optimistic that he could remain a Heisman Trophy contender.
Well, I think he can. I mean, to me, I think November is when it really matters, and he still has big games ahead of him. He's certainly putting up those kind of numbers, even though he's missing some of his best weapons out on the outside.
Tank Bigsby, the running back here for Auburn. Big hole, big run. Big man into Rebel territory to the 46-yard line. A.J. Finley finally able to run him down. It's a first down.
Watch the cut. It starts left. He plants the left foot back to the right side of the formation. A little bit of over pursuit by the Ole Miss defense and a big time run for Tank Bigsby. He has that ability to plant his foot and change directions and make people miss.
26-yard gain. He had a big game against the Rebels last year in Oxford in a 7-point win. He banged his way inside the 40. Ashanti Sistrunk made the tackle, 129 yards at Ole Miss last year.
They keep their backs fresh. Ole Miss does the same thing. Both these teams will play 3 running backs. Of course, their running back coach is a pretty good running back himself, Carnell Cadillac Williams, the running back coach for Auburn.
He wasn't bad.
No, not too bad. He and Ronnie Brown, quite a combo themselves.
Ole Miss rush 5, and the pass in the flat is dropped by Jarquez Hunter, freshman from Philadelphia, Mississippi.
There's Carnell right there. Great nickname, Cadillac. He and Ronnie Brown, that was as good of a 1-2 combination of running backs that college football has seen in a long time. Great play.
Hunter again, and a first down to the 33-yard line. Chance Campbell the stop for Ole Miss.
That's what they like about the freshman Hunter. He is the north-south downhill runner. Runs behind his pads. He ran right through a tackle of Chase Campbell, the leading tackle in this Ole Miss defense. Showed some physicality on that run.
Hunter has averaged 8.6 yards per carry to this point of the season. They line up the tight end Shanker as a fullback.
Boy, he's got the other tight end.
And unfortunately for Auburn, it needed to be a diving catch by Luke Deal, where there was more in that play for them as he was wide open. He goes to the 18.
He's going to go right down here. A little miscommunication because everybody's rushing the quarterback. They leave that area void, and Bo Nix just kind of underthrew the ball, or it would have been a touchdown.
6th catch of the year for Deal. They play 4 different tight ends. All can catch the ball. Bigsby back in, and he slides ahead for about 2.
You know, it's interesting. we're seeing Schenker lined up as a fullback. And when we talked to Mike Bobo yesterday, he said, you know, Brian Harsin and I, we don't know each other great, but we kind of have the same philosophy about offensive football, and playing with a fullback's okay sometimes. You know, they both want to be physical. They want to run the football, and Schenker has that versatility to line up in different spots. In this case, a fullback or an H-back.
Now attaches to the left end of the line with 3 wide receivers, and Bigsby running right. He got rocked as he crossed the line of scrimmage. Sam Williams at the bottom of the pile, one of the best in the country, senior from right down the road in Montgomery, Alabama.
A really good play by Williams. I mean, we know he can rush the passer. He's their best pure pass rusher. That time he fought off the block, used his hands well, and met the ball carrier right at the point of attack.
Second in the SEC in sacks behind Will Anderson of Alabama, who has 8.5. 3rd and 7. They're in field goal range at the very least as we approach 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter. The fade and a flag thrown. Ball went over the head of Landon King, one of those tight ends, but it might have been intended for Shedrick Jackson, who seemed to be the player who was impeded. Ken Williamson leading our SEC officiating crew.
Now, I think they're going to call it on the defender who was on Landon King. My only question is this ball, Landon King doesn't look like he's running anywhere near the ball's going to be. He looks like he's running inside. The ball's thrown way outside. Yes, there was contact, but I don't know that that's even going to be close to being a caught football.
Didn't look like a lot there either. It's the same old story for Ole Miss, the most penalized team in the country at more than 10 per game. Only UAB has endured more penalty yards per game. Bigsby stumbling. Stayed on his feet long enough to turn it into a gain of 2 to the 4-yard line, where he's run down by Sam Williams.
Really good hustle play by Sam Williams, but he's the one getting up slow at the end of that play. One of the key defenders on this Ole Miss defense.
Williams still being tended to. And we'll step aside with 2:40 to go in the first quarter, and Auburn leading 7-3. Don't forget to check out the Great Clips Command Center. The broadcast of this game, that's what it looks like if you go there on ESPN3 and the ESPN app. It's streaming right now. All kinds of statistical information. Split screen, you'll get the constant Skycam view. That is the vantage point from the AT&T 5G Skycam. We're going to watch this play from the AT&T 5G Skycam. 2nd and goal. Sam Williams walked off the field. They're at the 4-yard line. Auburn already up 7-3. Bigsby lowers his head again and goes down near the 1. Rebels diving into the pile as if they thought the ball might have come out. And Chance Campbell at the bottom of the pile again for Ole Miss. He'll be there all night long.
We've seen mostly 12 personnel for Auburn, which is 1 back, 2 tight ends. That was 13 personnel with 3 tight ends and 1 back. This is heavy personnel now.
Sam Williams back in. The ball did come out. That's why you saw a couple Ole Miss players diving in. There it is on the ground. And it was John Samuel Schenker able to recover it for Auburn. So a big break for the Tigers, who use a timeout. Auburn's lost only 5 turnovers this season, tied for 4th fewest in the country. One of the teams with which they are tied is Ole Miss, which has also turned it over only 5 times. Coastal Carolina, Michigan, and Toledo, and that was entering today. Michigan had problems with turnovers today, the only ones that had fewer.
Well, Auburn running the football. I mentioned the two tight ends. They're doing a great job. Luke Dio and John Samuel Shanker. This was the Bo Nix touchdown. Again, both tight ends involved in the blocking schemes. Coming into the game, Auburn averaging 196 yards a game rushing, but against SEC opponents, that number has been way down. Off to a very good start, kind of asserting their physicality at the line of scrimmage against this Ole Miss defense so far tonight.
We have Austin Troxell back starting at left tackle. He did not start last week due to injury, their last game. Up and over and in. Tank Bigsby with the second Auburn touchdown of the night. Bigsby's 7th rushing touchdown of the season. They've scored a touchdown on each of their 2 drives. Has to be disappointing to Ole Miss, which came here feeling like the defense was much improved in recent weeks. Whistles stopped the play before the extra point. It took too long to get the extra point off, to the dismay of Brian Harsin.
You know, I think it's worth mentioning because it looks this way to me. Auburn coming off a bye week. After the win against Arkansas on the road, it was a noon game. They've had the week off to get healthy, get refreshed. Ole Miss coming off a tough rivalry game with LSU, and Auburn appears to be the fresher team, at least early on.
Extra point is good.
We mentioned the multiple tight ends. Take a look at this touchdown play. 1 tight end, 2 tight end, 3 tight end, and then this guy right here is J.J. Pegues, who's a defensive lineman that they put in there. Another big body, and Tank Bigsby over the top for the touchdown. So Auburn feeling like they could establish the line of scrimmage. They're bigger, they're more physical, and it's paying off for them right now with the run game and a 14-3 lead.
Ten plays, 71 yards. Bigsby was the SEC Freshman of the Year last year when he rushed for 834 yards. The only freshman who ever ran for more for Auburn, James Bostic. He ran for more than Bigsby as a freshman than Bo Jackson in his first year.
I like Bigsby. I watched him when we did the Penn State game earlier. I watched the Penn State-Auburn game. He had 102 yards and 2 touchdowns against a very good Penn State defense on the road. Really the biggest reason why Auburn had a great chance to win that game.
I should correct myself. It was Michael Dyer who had more rushing yards as an Auburn freshman. The 6 yards per carry for Bigsby last year, the first player to do that for Auburn since Bostic in 1993. Carlson's kickoff will be a touchback. Let's check in back in the studio. Here's Matt Barry.
You know, that Houston team lost their opener to Texas Tech, and they've won every game since, so they are playing good football.
Some very good teams in the American. Play fake by Corral. His pass is deflected in the air, caught by an offensive lineman.
And Corral's
the center, Umana caught it, and Corral's hurt.
He injured his right ankle against Tennessee. He carried the ball 30 times. He's holding his left ankle right now. And more than anything else, the status of Matt Corral is the issue for Lane Kiffin.
Smoke Monday, the safety, deflected the pass. You wonder if it was right here.
Yeah, I think that's where he heard it right there.
Yeah, twisted it awkwardly, trying to get away.
Derek Hall was the guy putting the pressure on.
Luke Altmaier is the backup quarterback who's played very little, and Corral was in a lot of pain.
You mentioned the Tennessee game. He ran the ball 30 times for 195 yards, just showed great courage and toughness, and came out of that game with an injured right ankle. He was not 100% last week against LSU, but he played, and he actually ran the ball 12 more times in that game. They got him out when the game was in hand, but now this looks like a much more significant injury for Matt Corral.
Well, that was a remarkable performance at Tennessee on October 16th. 30 carries for 195 yards in their 5-point win. And he did not turn down any contact. That was the most carries in a game by an Ole Miss player since 2007, when the running back Ben Jarvis Green Ellis had 33 totes against Mizzou. And the Auburn coaches told us tonight they anticipated Corral would carry between 25 and 35 times.
Yeah, we haven't seen the designed run for Matt Corral yet. We've seen a couple scrambles, but they've been in tune and in position to make plays. But this does not look good for Matt Corral or Lane Kiffin. I mean, his quarterback has been a warrior. He's played great. But Derek Hall, who was pressuring from his defensive end position, kind of rolled up on that left ankle, and you can see Matt Corral is in a lot of pain.
What a shame. Such a competitor. It was refreshing to hear Lane Kiffin speak so honestly about the Heisman Trophy. He said, I feel terrible for Corral because he's without a couple of his best receivers. We're without one of our best tight ends, one of our best offensive linemen. It's really hard for him to put up the kind of numbers that he needs to win the Heisman. And Lane said, I think he deserves it. And it would be great for Ole Miss as well. Obviously, they've never had a Heisman Trophy winner. So here's Luke Altmaier, freshman from Starkville, home of their arch rival Mississippi State, who's 0 for 4 throwing collegiate passes. And a bizarre play to be welcomed to this one. He got blasted at the 22 after a rather slow weave toward the line of scrimmage. Smoke Monday smoked him.
It was supposed to be a quick throw. Probably Lane just wanted to get his new quarterback settled, but nobody was open, and he decided to take off and took a shot at the end of the play.
Well, say sometimes the quarterbacks, it helps to take a hit early on. Swing pass, Ely dropped for another loss by Owen Papo. One of their best players missed a lot of time this season due to injury. And the expression on Lane Kiffin's face, Todd, said it all. He knows they are in big trouble if Corral cannot return.
Well, Owen Papo has not played for a while. Watch how quick and the perfect angle to Ely, because Ely can really run. He's got the most speed of all the backs, but a perfect angle to the tackle by Owen Papo. And Ole Miss went backwards without their starting quarterback and has to punt.
Mack Brown, his 46th game as the Ole Miss punter. Low line drive taken on a hop by Demetris Robertson. And well covered by Ole Miss. 42-yard punt, 0 on the return. And another injured Ole Miss player on the punt play as we look again at the injury.
He was hurt before he threw that football. The ball was tipped, but right there is where he hurt the ankle, and then he just tried to get rid of the football.
Fourth-year junior from Ventura, California, Matt Corral.
You know, we haven't seen it yet as they're tending to the Ole Miss player.
Jalen Jordan.
For Auburn, they've got Ole Miss on the ropes right now, particularly not knowing the status of Matt Corral. This is a perfect opportunity for Mike Bobo to call a play action and try to take a deep shot and see if they can really take advantage of the takeaway. Lane Kiffin is distraught, I think, more than anything for his quarterback.
Well, they're so close.
Yep.
And he has such appreciation for what a hard worker, what a gritty competitor, what a talented player Corral is. He really believes he could be a Heisman Trophy winner, perhaps should be the Heisman Trophy winner if he had, as we said, kind of an even playing field, but playing without good players around him, and now he might not be able to play either.
Well, especially when so much of what he does is extend plays with his feet, make runs. How much could he possibly do with that, even if he comes back in the game?
Final 10 seconds of the opening quarter. Nix looked like a design run from the beginning, and he slides down with a 2-yard loss with Tylen Knight approaching rapidly. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. Auburn scored on both of its drives in the first quarter, had 142 yards of offense. Altmaier in the spotlight as we go to the second quarter.
You saw Matt Corral was in visible pain with apparent left ankle injury. He tried to get on an exercise bike after leaving the tent. Medical training staff insisted that he go back to the locker room for an x-ray first. I'm told he is questionable to return, so we could see Matt Corral back in this game, Sean.
Well, the good thing is, as he got on the car, didn't look to be in the same kind of pain anywhere near it that he was when the injury first happened, and he was limping slightly. Well, here comes Auburn right out of the huddle to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 12. Opening play of the second quarter. The Tigers leading 14-3. And it's Sean Shivers, the ball carrier.
A big play right here for the Ole Miss defense if they can get a 3 and out. And Auburn, I think, kind of did them a favor because they went away from the power running. DJ Durkin, the defensive coordinator, having trouble stopping that run. A couple spread out plays, and they defended those plays better.
Julian Zierer now in at left tackle. Made his first career start last week and did well. Nix in trouble. He got away from Williams. Now Campbell in hot pursuit. Bo Nix did well to hang on to the ball. And actually that worked out better for the Rebels as he kept retreating and wound up back near the 31-yard line.
Here's Williams. Now Brodarius Ham, their right tackle, he's been their best offensive lineman. That's the second time in the ball game that Williams has gone right around him. Campbell was the second guy there, and Williams on second effort got the takedown out of bounds. So good hustle and effort play by Sam Williams, and a nice 3 and out for the Ole Miss defense.
14-yard loss on the sack. Ole Miss is a beautiful punt here by Oscar Chapman. And it rolls out of bounds at the 13. Ole Miss has had 5 sacks in each of the last 2 games. First time that's happened in consecutive games since 1999. Well, here comes Altmaier for his first full series. We'll remind you that Tuesday, here it comes. The first exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom. Have reaction from coaches, a live interview with the committee chairman, Gary Barta, the athletic director at the University of Iowa. That's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. Well, Luke Altmaier, who had appeared in 3 games briefly prior to tonight, flips it forward to Dontario Drummond. Up he goes and down at the 15-yard line, upended by Jalen Simpson, the cornerback for Auburn.
Well, you wonder, would Auburn try to pressure the new quarterback? Derek Mason's defense is not a big, heavy pressure team.
Conservative play calls here, understandably so. Henry Parrish ahead, and it looks like he has enough for the Rebels' first down to the 22.
Conservative, but remember, this is the best running football team in the SEC coming in, averaging 263 yards a game. Now, Matt Corral, a big part of that running offense, but they are a run-first football team, even with a Heisman candidate, Matt Corral.
61% of their plays are runs. Here's a play action pass for Altmaier. He pulls it down.
Get out of bounds.
And he got hit right at the sideline. Derek Hall. I think next time Altmaier will make sure he gets a little more briskly to the sideline for offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby, who calls the plays with input from Lane Kiffin. Usually between series, they don't really have a lot of time for a conversation between plays because of the pace at which they operate. Henry Parrish to the 38 and another Ole Miss first down.
Again, this is good for Ole Miss to establish their ground game. Matt Corral, I mean, he's moving much better. Again, how much can he do in terms of running, moving in the pocket, extending plays? But he looks a lot different than he did when he first got up off the field.
He looks like a man determined to come back into the game. Snoop Connor. Nice run. Looked like it'd be a loss. Instead, he weaved his way out to the 44-yard line. That has the expression, put me back in the game. Second and 5, 14-3 Auburn. Early in the second quarter, there's the first completion of his college career for Altmaier. A second completion now.
John Rice Plumlee, who was once a quarterback himself, on the receiving end of that play.
Yeah, we wondered during the break if they might go to him at quarterback, but he doesn't really see reps in practice much at quarterback. A deflection off one Rebel, and it's caught by Ja'Cour Pearson. Off the hands of Casey Kelly, the tight end, and into the hands of Pearson.
Yeah, normally if the ball gets tipped like that, something bad happens. If you're a quarterback, that time it was a fortuitous bounce.
How about this drive? Altmaier looking more confident by the moment. Dumped it off to Casey Kelly, who has another Ole Miss first down. They are briskly on the move.
You know, the one thing I wonder, Sean, is Lane Kiffin going to be as inclined to go for fourth down plays with this quarterback on the field, or is he going to be more conservative, even though he's behind on the scoreboard right now?
Well, Corral looks like he is getting ready to come back in.
Yep.
I don't think they'd be going through all of what we have seen there along their sideline. Out of the pistol. Look out. Altmaier planted back at the 43 by Zacoby McClain.
I mentioned Derek Mason, not a heavy pressure guy. This time he brings McClain and isolates him on the running back, and Snoop Connor just does not do a good job picking up the pressure. They had a man there to pick him up, and they weren't able to make the play.
Apparently Corral grabbed the wrong helmet.
I think you call timeout if you're Lane Kiffin. If you're going to bring him in the game, call timeout.
And I think that's what Lane's going to do, as he has started toward the official nearest him, and there it is. You want to get Corral back in as soon as you can. Altmaier performed valiantly, actually 5 for 5 now upon entering the game for 18 yards.
Did a really nice job.
They've thrown only 4 passes prior to tonight. 3 of them are against Austin Peay in his most significant action. The other one at Tennessee.
You know, when we talked to Jeff Lebby, the offensive coordinator, he said, in one word, how would you describe Matt Corral? And he said, inspiring. He said he's an inspiring guy, the way he goes about his business, the way he works and prepares, and all the guys on our team feed off of that. He's a fierce competitor and has been a great leader of this football team. And stuff like this just adds to that with his teammates.
Inspiring indeed. This is exactly what Coach Lebby had in mind when he used that word. He steps into a second down and 17. 9:59 to go until halftime, and his team down 14-3 in a critical game in the SEC West. Moved pretty well to get loose for a deep throw that's too deep for Dontario Drummond. Jalen Simpson, the cover man.
The good thing, just physically, for Matt Corral is because it's his left ankle that he injured. That's not his plant foot. So his right foot is his plant foot.
But that was already injured.
Already, but it was about 90% coming into the game.
Well, maybe it helps to have both ankles balanced. They both hurt. Beautiful throw, and here will come the analytics as Ja'Cour Pearson is down about 2 yards short of the first down, and no hesitation for Lane. The book says go for it. He's going for it.
The book says go, and his main man quarterback is back on the field.
With Parrish, the running back. Parrish has the first down.
You got to get the ball to Drummond. Somehow they got to find him. Yep.
There's Matt Lindsay, who carries around the analytics book. Henry Parrish, the ball carrier, and Lane Kiffin said, it'll be easy for you to find my man with the analytics book. Just look for the guy who looks like Andy Reid. Matt Lindsay, just in case they need to look at it. Lane told us something interesting. He said Lindsay doesn't have to look at the book very much. What he tells Lane at the start of every series when they get a first down, he looks at Lindsay, and Lindsay holds up the number of fingers of how many yards they need to be within on fourth down to go for it. Flag down, high throw in the flat. So Dontario Drummond, the intended receiver. So at the start of that play, if Matt Lindsay held up 3 fingers, that means if it's 4th or 3 or closer, they'll go for the first down. If not,
defense number 29 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Complete second down.
they'll kick.
And all that is ever changing because it's based on field position, time in the game, what the score is, all those kind of things.
Your tendencies, the other team's tendencies. He said the book changes every week. It's not like the old 2-point chart that everybody had. If the score is this, you go for 2. If it's that, you don't go for 2. He said it's a different book every week based on the opponent, the situations, the spot on the field, the score, the time of the game. Snoop Connor stopped just short of the line to make. It'll be 3rd down, less than a yard, 8.5 to go till halftime.
Well, I started to say it earlier. Drummond, their leading receiver, has yet to get a catch in the ball game.
Snoop Connor has the touchdown. That is his specialty. When they get near the goal line, it's short yardage or goal to go. They lean heavily on Snoop Connor. His 23rd career rushing touchdown and the first of the night for Ole Miss.
Well, Umana, who started the game as a center, he's at right guard now. Bryce Ramsey's at center. They get a double team right there at the point of attack and open up a big hole for Snoop Connor. Umana is the guy who transferred from Utah, was a starter for the Utes, has played both guard and center. That time did a great job, lined up as right guard.
And the extra point good. That maneuvering along the offensive line made necessary because of the season-ending injury to Ben Brown, their stalwart at right guard. Snoop Connor has Ole Miss and Matt Corral back within 4. Taco Bell welcomes you to the Live Moss Student Section of the Year contest. Use hashtag Student Section Sauce to get the committee's attention. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. What a drive by Ole Miss. Like they might have lost their quarterback for at least the rest of the game, if not longer. Not surprisingly, given who he is, he returned and finished the drive. Jarquez Hunter brings back the Caden Costa kickoff and gets clothesline, and here comes the flag at the 34-yard line.
Auburn's going to have great field position to start this possession. 8:14 left in the first half.
There's another flag, though, back at the 18. There was a flag thrown for this hit at the end of the return for a face mask on Mark Britt. But there might have been a blocking foul earlier. Ken Williamson explaining to Brian Harsin what's going on. All right, Ken.
2 fouls on the play during the return, block in the back, turn team number 47. Personal foul, face mask, kicking team number 14. Auburn has chosen to offset those fouls. We'll re-establish the kickoff.
Matt, you want to help us with that?
Yeah, anytime you have basically what we call a post-possession foul, so both of those fouls occur during the return. So there was one on each team. The team in possession has the option to decline the other team's foul and have theirs enforced. So by declining the face mask and enforcing their penalty, would have given them their ball back on about the 10-yard line. So it was much more beneficial for them to replay it down.
As always, very well done by Matt Austin. So Caden Costa will kick off again. How about that drive? 15 plays, 88 yards. It started with Luke Altmaier, highly recruited out of Starkville, Mississippi. He was on for the first 9 plays of the 88-yard drive. Then Corral came in for the last 6. And Altmaier 5 for 5 in the emergency situation tonight. That is a performance that should not be forgotten, regardless of how this game goes. It was important. They're back in the game. Here's Shivers. Taken down to 23. Here's Matt Berry. All right, Matt, thank you. Any reaction to your alma mater being ahead after a rough couple of weeks?
Yeah, it has been a rough couple of weeks, but this is a huge game. They typically play well in Columbus on a good start. And it looks like Sean Clifford is closer to 100% than he was a week ago.
It's Tank Bigsby again, having a big first half. He's up to 81 yards on 11 carries. Still almost 8 minutes to go in the half.
Auburn back in that 12 personnel set now with the 2 tight ends. You know, Sean, we talked about Bo Nix being benched during the Georgia State game, how tough that was for him, and then the comeback. It should be mentioned also, this Auburn football team that Brian Harsin inherited, they lost their top 3 receivers off of last year's team. Anthony Schwartz, Seth Williams, Eli Stove, they led in all receptions. They led in touchdowns. The next closest in receptions last year was Tank Bigsby with 11 catches. So they lost their production, and then they've had trouble holding on to the football this year. 21 drop passes coming into the game tonight.
Moving on along the line, flags are down. Looked like Ole Miss was offside. Pass intended for Bigsby. Yeah, those 21 drop passes are the 7th most in the country for Auburn.
Offside. Defense number 96. 5-yard penalty. Will result in a first down.
Isaiah Eiton guilty of the offside. You saw the frustration on the face of DJ Durkin.
This defense this year has done 2 things really well. They've pressured the quarterback, 23 sacks coming into the game, another one tonight, and they've taken the ball away. 12 takeaways.
All day for Bo Nix and a wide open receiver. Demetrius Robertson out of bounds at the 20. Jalen Jones made the tackle. You mentioned all the departures at wide receiver, but he's a reinforcement. Robertson, a transfer from Georgia.
There's a little combination route. The post route by the outside receiver drew both defenders, and nobody there for Robertson on the outside. Bo Nix found him.
35-yard gain. They're not getting near Nix. Robertson again out of bounds. Flag down in the offensive backfield.
Yeah, it's going to be roughing the passer. Sam Williams just took a shot at the back of the head of Bo Nix at the end of the play. And again, these penalties, which has been the problem for Ole Miss, even though they've only got 1 loss, these penalties are critical, and they add up.
Foul, roughing the passer, defense number 1.
I'm sorry, I said Sam Williams. It was Jake Springer. Jake Springer on the blitz. There's a hit after the ball is thrown. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough, and it was up and near the head area that drew the flag.
He's a transfer from Navy. If you're looking for reasons why the defense has improved, he's a big reason why.
Yep. He's been hurt, and he got hurt after the opener, missed several games, came back the last couple weeks, and he makes a big difference on their football team.
He missed 4 games, returned for their win at Tennessee. Nix keeps it. Wide open pass to the end zone. That's his dad, the former Auburn quarterback, and Bo's high school coach, Patrick Nix. Whose high school team, by the way, is having another great year. He's moved around a bit as Coach Nix, but Central High School, Phoenix City, Alabama, 10-0 with Bo's brother Caleb at quarterback. Anders Carlson, the extra point. Bo Nix has rushed for 2. It's 21-10, Tigers.
Acre Restaurant in Auburn, Alabama is one of my all-time favorite spots. It was opened in 2013 by self-taught chef David Bancroft. My feature is redfish on the half shell. The fish was cured with a house-made Creole rub, then placed on the grill, scales down with a lid on it. Partway through the process, he begins to glaze it with a Cajun butter to create and capture a white butter smoke over the fish. Finish it with some Louisiana lanyap and fried okra, and we are good. Taste of the town, War Eagle, and welcome home.
You have enough redfish? My goodness.
So good.
That is a great place.
So good.
Anders Carlson kicks off. The lead back to 11 for the Tigers. Well,
I didn't bring you
brought me
fish.
something.
I didn't bring you fish because I thought it might smell up the booth. I did bring you some of the lacquered cornbread, but I don't know what happened to this other piece.
Lacquered, like they spray.
No, it's honey. It's honey, butter, and hot sauce that he lacquers with it. You
Okay.
got to try some.
All right,
you
I'll
want a
do
fork?
fork.
Oh, good.
It does have a lot
get
of
in there.
lacquer
Get
on
in
it.
there after it.
Okay.
It's obviously better if
Is it
it's
supposed to
hot
be-
in the hot skillet.
I think I was going to say, is it supposed to
not-
be cold and hard as a hockey puck?
Would you just eat the food that I bring you? My goodness. I don't know if Cody ate that other piece back there, the A2.
Of course he did.
Or,
Very unprofessional to call a play. Why don't you do play-by-play for this
okay.
play?
Little RPO slant route to the tight end. First
What's
down.
his name?
I didn't see who caught it. Has to be Casey, right?
It was Casey Kelly,
number 81.
That was excellent. I love redfish. That was the healthiest taste of the town.
Yeah. Well, there was also chicken fried bacon on that plate, too.
Oh.
So, just to balance it
That
out.
was delicious. I'm sorry I couldn't go with you to Acre last night. Corral runs forward. We do have COVID protocols in place at ESPN. I know that's why you were outside. Then you were eating by yourself.
Correct.
Yes, of course. 2nd and 7. Corral out wide. Miles Battle, because of the injuries to their wide receiver core, they have moved him over from defensive back. He was a wide receiver, then went to defensive back. Now he's come back to wide receiver. He actually might play on both sides of the ball tonight. He got 4, his 2nd catch of the year. 3rd down and 4. Here's Casey Kelly, has the first down for Ole Miss.
Nice read that time by Matt Corral. That was an RPO, so the line was blocking run, and that's just a decision of Matt Corral to either give the ball to the back or throw the quick throw to the tight end. The right decision, another first down, and Ole Miss on the move again.
Corral, after a couple of short passes, tried to pump fake, took the check down, and Miles Battle says, "Coach, if you don't mind, I'll go back to defense after that hit from Smoke Monday."
Sean, Matt Corral walked off the field after that touchdown drive. He retaped his own left ankle, then walked up and down the sideline yelling at his teammates saying, "I got you, we have to stay physical," and punch them in the mouth. And his grit and intensity is off the charts. If anything, this injury is bringing it out of him more.
If you didn't see that turned ankle and watched him in pain, you wouldn't know he was in distress. Beautiful slant and another first down. And now it's Dontario Drummond, their leading receiver, limping off as if he has a hamstring problem.
Wow. That's what took Sanders out of the Tennessee game early, a hamstring. Drummond has kind of carried the load. Clearly their leading receiver and his first catch in the ball game, and he pulls up lane.
Lane Kiffin thought with that group of three, Drummond, Sanders, and Mingo, they had the best group of three receivers in the country. Right now, none of them on the field for Matt Corral. John Rice Plumlee has come on at receiver. Nice run after the catch by Henry Parrish, and a first down to the 18-yard line.
Slant route, his first catch, it goes right down to the ground. And you know, the reason Lane said that about having those three is because it makes it very difficult to try to play man-to-man against Ole Miss if you have three receivers like that. Ryan Harsin and Derek Mason want to try to slow the pace down a little bit. Timeout Auburn.
Time for another piece of lacquered spray,
I got
whatever.
some more here.
Delicious. This is the SEC on ESPN. An important game of the SEC West. Alabama is idle this weekend. 3 one-loss teams, including these two, as we mentioned at the top of the telecast. Auburn in control. If it could win out, they would play in the SEC championship game in Atlanta. But a very tough schedule remaining for the Tigers, including this one with the 10th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Lane Kiffin's team on the move again, down by 11. 1st and 10 at the Auburn 18. And Corral ducks down after a gain of 4.
One of their favorite plays, little read. They've got the option of giving it to the back on a perimeter run with a quarterback keeping it and following the pulling backside lineman. Corral made the decision to run.
Out of the pistol with Henry Parrish. Corral kept the ball. The crowd thought that Parrish was dropped for a loss by Iku Leota. But Leota didn't realize, nor did the crowd, Parrish didn't have the ball. Great fake by Corral, who got down to the 11-yard line.
A big third down play in the red zone. Drummond not on the field, so his go-to receiver not out there.
And they said Braylon Sanders may be in red zone situations, but we've seen very little of him. He's not out there now. Corral on 2 bad ankles into the end zone with a touchdown.
This dude's a warrior, man. I'm telling you, he is a warrior. He wanted to throw this. It wasn't open. And he saw green grass and a lane to run. He wanted to throw it at first, but why not run? A lot of room there. And he does not look like a guy who's nursing a bad left ankle.
And it's the dilemma for Lane Kiffin and for Jeff Lebby. They said we are going to run Corral a lot tonight. Yeah. It might be like Tennessee. It might be 30 times. Do they still do that after the ankle injury he suffered on top of the ankle injury he already had?
He ran it 3 times in this possession. 2 of them by design. This one for a touchdown. And he's putting the team on his back again.
It was, no, Acre is fantastic. It's delicious. I'm sorry that he did not. The best. Of all the places that you've gone to so far.
That was the latest.
That was one of them. Here's Nehemiah Pritchett. Flag down as he crossed midfield. A couple of flags down, in fact. Thrown toward the end of the run, probably for some sort of illegal block, but it might not go all the way back. Pritchett's dangerous. He had 165 return yards against Georgia State.
Receiving team number 86. 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. First down.
Luke Deal called for it. Brian Harsin didn't like it. He walked all the way out to the numbers and gave the officials the wave of disgust.
I thought there was a frame earlier. There's the hold on Deal as the defender was trying to make a play for the ball. Still an excellent return, but I thought they got away with the hold earlier in the play, but got the call on Deal.
2.5 minutes to go. Just one timeout for Auburn. They start from their own 31 instead of the Rebel 48, and Bigsby ahead for 7. Tonight's player spotlight brought to you by Royal Caribbean. The difference home and away for Bo Nix in his career. We should point out that the 3 losses here at home are all the top 5 teams as well. Georgia twice and Texas A&M once. So been a much better player at home.
But the good news for Bo Nix and Auburn fans is you see him make another completion to Shedrick Jackson for a first down. The last 2 wins on the road have come this year. So he played well on the road against LSU. They hadn't beaten LSU in Baton Rouge since 1999, so a big win. And then at Arkansas, as I already mentioned, the best I've seen him play completely as a quarterback. Another big win on the road against Arkansas.
Bigsby taken down for no gain. And that was important to Bo Nix. It was the week before the LSU game that he was benched. And he said, I wanted to do everything I could to make sure I was the starter and ready to go against LSU, because he knew the history. He said, I wanted to be the first quarterback to win with Auburn in Baton Rouge since 1999. He benefits from terrific coaching from 2 guys who are both quarterbacks, Harsin and Mike Bobo. Beautiful throw. Another first down. Demetrius Robertson inside the 35-yard line. They're in field goal range now.
See, this is what I think is the biggest difference in Bo Nix. He's always had the ability to make the dramatic play, the scramble, the throw on the move, the crazy play. It's the routine plays, being consistent, making the routine throws and plays. That's where he's better.
Throws it up for grabs. I don't think Brian Harsin would have liked that. It was interesting when we talked to the coach yesterday. Himself a quarterback in his playing days back at Boise State. He said there are 4 things that he thinks are most important for a quarterback. Toughness, which Nix has in abundance. Preparation, same thing. Decision making and accuracy are the other 2. And he said decision making with Bo Nix is still something he needs to work on. The accuracy is getting better because it comes from better footwork, balance, timing, all of the things they're working on.
Accuracy has more to do with your feet than your arm for a quarterback.
2nd and 10, final minute of the half. Another first down if they give him the forward progress, and they will. Kobe Hudson to the 21-yard line.
We talked
Nix
about
is 10 out of 12 for 135. Sorry,
we
Todd.
talked about the drop passes against Georgia. They had 7, only 2 against Arkansas. Doing a better job hanging on the ball tonight, too.
Nix, one-on-one coverage, and the throw's too long for Shedrick Jackson.
Ole Miss defender down on the field.
We've had a number of players go down tonight, including Corral, who obviously returned.
I think it could be KD Hill, who's in the middle of that defense, has played very well the last 2 weeks. 6'1", 310-pound junior. It's kind of really given them an anchor in the middle of that defense. Again, they play a 3-man defensive line with 2 linebackers and 6 defensive backs.
Looking at his left knee. As they look at him, let's take a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by PlayStation. Georgia, resounding win in Jacksonville over Florida. Cincinnati pulled away late at Tulane, as we said. Alabama idle. Oklahoma, solid win. Ohio State, that's the surprise. And the big game of the day was that battle in East Lansing, won by Michigan State from 16 down to win. It's time almost for the first playoff rankings, which will come out on Tuesday night on ESPN, the College Football Playoff Top 25 show presented by Allstate. And here are our picks. Now, this isn't who we think it'll be. This is who we think it should be.
Well, and who we think it is right now. As we look at who are if someone asked us, who do you think are the 4 best teams in college football right now as we see it, who would be the next 2? That's how we are evaluating this, right?
I think the perception around college football is Georgia and Alabama are the 2 best teams.
Yeah.
Now maybe that suffered a bit when Alabama lost to Texas A&M.
Well, I happen to still think that they're the 2nd best team.
I agree.
I mean, even though they lost that game in College Station on the road, I think they've recovered from that and still look like the 2nd best team to me.
Kobe Hudson upended. And don't forget to go to ESPN.com/All-State Playoff Predictor to check out your team's chances to make the college football playoff. 3rd down and 4. 20 seconds in the half. Bo Nix has the first down.
Clock will stop till they reset the chains. Auburn still has 1 timeout as well. They can spike it since they got the first down and save the timeout. That's what they do. 15 seconds. You still got time to take a couple shots at the end zone. Really, with the 1 timeout, you can do anything here. You can throw it anywhere on the field, or you can even run it if you wanted to. Remember, Ole Miss won the toss and deferred, so they will get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. They fought their way back in this game, and touchdowns are going to determine this game, not field goals, before we're all said and done in the final 30 minutes.
We want to hold the Tigers to a field goal try. 4-man rush. Wide open and a touchdown. Jarquez Hunter. His first career receiving touchdown. He has scored 3 on the ground during his freshman season. Well, Bo Nix is now thrown for 1 and rushed for 2. And Anders Carlson kicks another extra point.
Now, this is great play call by Mike Bobo and design. Here's the running back, Hunter. He's going to come and stop right here. The guy who's going to get frozen is this freshman safety, Tysheem Johnson, number 27. As the back releases, he's the number 3 receiver on that side. The safety just gets flat-footed, and nobody picks up Hunter. Beautiful play design and call for the touchdown here right at the end of the half.
Bo Nix continuing his stretch of good play. Now his 9th career game with a rushing and passing touchdown. Still another half to go.
You know, it's interesting. He said to us, and I saw this on film, it was really the 4th possession of the LSU game in Baton Rouge when he took him on a touchdown drive, and he said it just something changed his confidence. He said it's something he always knew he had, but he hadn't played with it. And since that time, he's played with a different edge and a different confidence. Even though they lost to Georgia, he did a lot of good things in that ball game against the number 1 team in the country. But LSU win on the road, number 1 team in the country, win on the road against Arkansas in the first half of this ball game tonight. Bo Nix has been a very solid quarterback.
Good kickoff by Carlson, a touchback. Kick off your Week 8 NFL Sunday, 10 a.m. with a special Halloween edition of Sunday NFL Countdown on ESPN and the app. They'll take a look at some of the NFL's most unusual superstitions. And then join us Monday night for Monday Night Football, capping off Week 8 on ESPN, Deportes, and the app. 8 p.m. Eastern, the New York Giants off a win against Carolina last week, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Shocking that the Chiefs are 3-4.
Yeah.
But dangerous. And always fun to watch Patrick Mahomes. Will they risk something here? It's an inside handoff to Jarian Ely. A 5-yard gain that'll take us to halftime. Well, Matt Corral looked like he might be done for the game and perhaps beyond. Return. And no sign of pain in those ankles. And Bo Nix, how about those numbers? Both 12 for 15.
Wow.
and effective in the running game when they needed to be. Here's Molly McGrath.
Coach, what kind of grit did you see from Matt Corral when he returned to the game?
Well, I thought we lost him there. It looked pretty bad, and so, he's able to come back. Our defense played well for a little bit, and then, we played terrible there at the end. So, we got a big half to go here. We're going to have to play really well against a really good team.
How does your offensive game plan change with him hobbled moving forward?
I mean, we got to do whatever it takes to win, so.
So it doesn't?
It doesn't. Whatever it takes, find a way.
All right, thanks, Coach. John.
They will continue to run Corral if that's their best option. Auburn 267 yards of offense in the half. They lead 28-17 as we send you back to the studio for the Mercedes EQ halftime report. In college football primetime presented by Subway. And this is the SEC on ESPN. Pat Dye Field, Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn, Alabama. The home team has a 28-17 lead over Ole Miss. Time for our fighting spirit moment brought to you by Modelo. And it's never been more apt than it is tonight as it applies to Matt Corral.
Yeah, that was the hit by Derek Hall. He went out with the left ankle injury. Came back looking okay. Running the football, throwing the football, willing his team back into this ball game. Auburn scored right at the end of the half. Both quarterbacks have played very well and played with grit and toughness and leadership. And I think we're in for a heck of a 30 minutes to finish this one out.
Well, you noted early the comparisons, the similarities between the two. Really remarkably alike.
Yeah, I mean, size, stature, the way they play, the way they compete, the way they study and prepare, and it shows up on the
onside kick attempt, and it didn't go far enough.
I don't think that was an onside kick attempt. I think he just missed. The ball fell off the tee before he went
sure
to kick it.
Like it.
Yeah.
Officials alert to it. Where he got, he swung at it. He actually kicked it after it fell off the tee. But you're allowed the mulligan. That would be a really fancy onside kick. The stats, by the way, were brought to you by PlayStation. I am going to run up to the ball. The ball is going to fall off the tee, and then I'm going to attempt an onside kick. It's getting the ball to fall off the tee that would be the hard part on a relatively windless night here. Jarian Ely chopped down shy of the 20-yard line. Nice play by Ladarius Tennyson. Matt Corral now 15 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns this season. The last 3 SEC players to do that in the first 8 games of the season. Dak Prescott, Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow.
Good company. Very good company. And, he's just played at such a high level all year. He was a good quarterback last year. He's been a great quarterback this year. And then, doing the things that if you talk about a guy being a Heisman candidate, winning a game like this on the road, coming back, showing toughness, battling through injury, those are the things that matter the most in games like this down the stretch.
Henry Parrish for 8 yards.
That's why I think Ole Miss needs to get back to a little more balance in their offense, a little better job running the football. Only 73 yards running it in that first half.
And they lose a half yard there. Parrish. They've now run 22 times and thrown it 20. Colby Wooden made the tackle. Probably 4 down territory for Lane Kiffin, even this far in his own zone. Corral incomplete. We'll see what the analytics say.
I think you punt the football here. You're having trouble stopping Auburn. I think you have to punt the football and flip the field a little bit and not take the chance of giving your defense a short field. Hope that the adjustments that DJ Durkin was able to make at halftime will pay off, but don't give him a short field here.
Demetrius Robertson back for the punt from Mac Brown, senior from Edina, or from Eden Prairie rather, Minnesota, Twin City suburbs. Robertson, another good Example of punt coverage by Ole Miss. Jared Lawrence, the long snapper, made the tackle. There's Molly McGrath.
Auburn's Brian Harsin said our run game is sustaining us. He said Tank Bigsby's performance in the first half was crucial to their success, and they're going to continue doing that. His message in the locker room to Bo Nix and their offensive line, it's simple. We have to continue to commit to the run to have success and win this game.
I think where they had the most success is when they were in the 12 personnel package with both tight ends in the ball game, 86 and 47. That's how they start this possession as well. Actually, they got 3 tight ends this time.
With his new coaching staff, Nix under center more than he's been in the past. Wide open, Luke Deal, the tight end, or Tyler Fromm. 85, not 86. It's a first down to the 40-yard line of the Rebels.
See, they got 3 tight ends. Ole Miss is thinking run all the way. They slip Fromm out of the back. It fools the Ole Miss defense. The formation suggested run. The play call was a play-action pass, and Bo Nix on target. His 13th completion of the ball game.
For 31 yards, first catch of the game, 5th of the year for Fromm. Sophomore from Warner Robins, Georgia. Bigsby tripped up as he crossed the line of scrimmage. Fell forward for about 2. Mark Robinson made the tackle. Transfer from Southeast Missouri. He transferred to Ole Miss as a walk-on running back. Sat out last year as a transfer. And he got the attention of DJ Durkin, the defense coordinator, with his athleticism and his physicality. And DJ said to Lane Kiffin, how about we give this guy a look on defense? And he's become one of their best defensive players.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys that has changed the mentality of the defense as well.
Bigsby weaved his way inside the 35. Chance Campbell, another tackle.
That's the other guy, the other inside linebacker. Chance Campbell and Mark Robinson. This is a team that had 2 linebackers, Lakia Henry and Momo Sanogo, who have played a lot of ball, started a lot of games. They can't even get on the field right now because these 2 guys who transferred in have just made them a better defense.
3rd down and 4. There is a flag down for that movement along the line of scrimmage.
Offside. Defense number 7. The 5-yard penalty will result in the first down.
Surprised Sam Williams didn't try to get back, though. He jumped and then just stayed there.
Yeah, he kind of flinched back but didn't get back enough. When we talked to Lane Kiffin, you referenced it earlier about the penalties. He said, I'm not saying 10 penalties a game is okay. He said, we have too many penalties. They've been costly. He said, but if you're going to be a good defensive team, typically you have some penalties.
Yeah.
Nix just did get it off. Well, and it looked like Robertson couldn't find the ball. And Lane said he thinks there are other statistical factors that are more important than penalties. Turnover margin, and he listed off many others.
Yeah, explosive plays, turnover margin, they are the 2 most telling. And I agree with that. And he said our offense has been able to overcome penalties because our players are so good. I don't think the same thing is true of their defense. I think it's harder for their defense to overcome penalties because they're not quite as talented on that side of the ball.
Jarquez Hunter fighting for everything. Got to the 25. It'll be 3rd down and 7. We've played 3 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. Auburn leading 28-17. Sean Shivers, who's their 3rd down back, is in there.
John Samuel Shanker, the only tight end in here at this play. A good part of the field for him.
Nix swings it out, and over the head of Shivers is a small target at 5'7".
You know, when Brian Harsin talked about accuracy and footwork, this is bad footwork. He chooses to throw outside late. See, his feet are set to throw down to the middle, and he didn't see what he liked in the middle, and you see his feet were just not set and not in position to make an accurate throw on the swing pass. He's been pretty accurate tonight. That time his feet got him in trouble, and he made a bad throw.
One of the best field goal kickers in the country, Anders Carlson. His brother Daniel, tremendous kicker here at Auburn as well, is here tonight. He led the crowd in a cheer before the game, and that one's no good off the right upright from 43 yards. Daniel Carlson now with the Las Vegas Raiders. So still 28-17 in favor of Auburn. You're watching college football prime time, presented by Subway. This season, along with their contributions to universities' general scholarship funds for every field goal and extra point made, Allstate will be donating to the American Red Cross to help with disaster relief efforts. Thank you, Allstate. You think they'll send something? Carlson hit the upright, it was close. Maybe a little less than the full contribution. Jerry and Ely taken down immediately by Chandler Wooten, the safety, who's had an excellent year. The defensive coordinator Derek Mason, quick to praise him in our conversation yesterday.
Well, he's listed as a safety, but because of the injury to Owen Papo, as we look at Derek Mason, Wooten's actually had to come up and play inside linebacker, and that's where he's playing right now, and not alongside of Zacoby McClain.
Out of the pistol, looked like it was a pretty good hold there for Snoop Connor. It closed up quickly. Zacoby McClain, another tackle.
He had 15 tackles in the win at Arkansas. He's missed a couple games with injuries. Papo's missed a couple games. That's why Wooten had to play so much linebacker. Big 3rd and 7 here for this Tiger defense.
3rd down and 7. Corral dodges the rush. There's a flag down. The ball is incomplete. Thrown up for grabs for Jaden Jackson. And the flag thrown where you'd expect an offensive holding call, and that's what it's going to be.
I think they're going to get the right tackle, Jeremy James, number 78.
Holding, offense, number 78. Penalty will be declined.
He was working on Leota, who was coming on an inside pressure and just got caught. Reached out and grabbed, and the incomplete pass already, so they forced a second punt on 4th down in a row for Lane Kiffin. And he had to give this guy the special teams game ball last week. Said he hated to do it because he doesn't like to use him. Doesn't want to punt. But again, he's got it's the smart decision to punt the football and play a little field position right now.
And Mac Brown punted 4 times, including on 4th and 2, and the crowd booed. Whoa, there's a muff! And it looks like Ole Miss has it. Demetrius Robertson could not catch the punt, and that's just the break Corral and the Rebels needed. They will take over at the 29-yard line of the Auburn Tigers.
Well, first of all, the punt was nearly blocked. He got it off and then just right through the wickets. Robertson is there, never makes a clean catch.
Tylen Knight recovered.
Tylen Knight was a receiver last year for Ole Miss. They moved him to defensive back. He's a great athlete and comes up with a huge special teams play right there.
First turnover of the game. We mentioned these two have been among the national leaders in fewest turnovers. Low snap, Corral able to rescue it, gave it to Henry Parrish, and he got 9.
Again, Ole Miss is going with a little makeshift offensive line. Caleb Warren is at left guard. Umana, instead of being the center, is the right guard, and Bryce Ramsey is the center.
Corral dropped for a 1-yard loss by Zacoby McClain. Lane Kiffin said McClain's a special player. 3rd down and 2.
Now you're in 2-down territory if you're Ole Miss.
Corral handed it off and spinning close to the line to gain, but not making it. A yard short is Parrish.
A really good second effort. He was hit well behind the line. Ole Miss not even hesitating and right at the line of scrimmage to go on this 4th and 1.
Corral just not as much of a running threat as he typically is. They fake the run and he throws an errant pass for the tight end Casey Kelly. What a mess. They had a huge break on the muff punt and they still go 3 and out. for the third time in a row.
One of the rare inaccurate throws by Matt Corral. He had the tight end, Casey Kelly. We talked about footwork for Bo Nix. This is bad footwork by Matt Corral. His feet were pointed one way. He tried to throw it another way to Casey Kelly, and he threw an errant pass. He had the tight end. It would have been a first down. Bad throw.
ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Subway, is brought to you by Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate.
We'll go back and look at this failed fourth down. We talk about footwork, okay, and how important the footwork is. Watch as this play starts. Matt Corral is going to have an open receiver. But right here, his feet are set up to throw this way. His open receiver's there, and he doesn't get the completion. We see Patrick Mahomes do that every Sunday. Aaron Rodgers can do it. Most college quarterbacks can't.
Tank Bigsby. Neither team can get much offense going here. He's tackled after a 4-yard run. DeAndre Prince made the tackle. So 5 fourth downs tonight for Ole Miss. They've punted 3 times, gone for it twice. They're 1 for 2 on fourth down conversions.
Well, the only game that they did not have a lot of success on fourth down was the game they lost to Alabama. They went for it 5 times. They converted their first 2, and then the next 3 times in a row, they got stopped. And each time they got stopped, Alabama went and scored a touchdown and really blew the game out in the first half.
Jarquez Hunter, they'll need 3 more on third down. That's the only loss. It was 42-21 at Tuscaloosa. They're 6-1. They're in the top 10. 10 in the AP poll this week, 9 in the coaches poll. In the top 10 for the first time since the final poll of the 2015 season. Can the defense get the ball back and force an Auburn 3? And oh, missed time snap. Nobody moving except the center. And Nix tried to rescue that play, threw it up for grabs for Robertson. He couldn't run under it.
Yeah, very lucky for Auburn that Bo Nix gathered the football. Nick Brahms, the center, snapped it before anybody was ready for it, and it was a bad snap on top of that. It was not only an early snap, it was a bad snap.
And he's one of the sharpest guys in college football. I mean, even smart guys can get the snap count. 3.9 GPA when he graduated in professional flight management. They have a great program for that here. His dad is a pilot for Delta Airlines. Nick's now working on an MBA. That snap took flight a little too early. Oscar Chapman punts. Fair catch made by Jake Springer. No scoring through the first 7 minutes of this third quarter. Well, this Monday on ESPN2, when the Giants face the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, Peyton and Eli will have their alternate broadcast of the game, their unique perspective, stories, and surprise guests. Of course, last Monday night they talked a lot about Eli's trip to Oxford, where Ole Miss retired his number 10 jersey. Just the 3rd retired number in school history. His dad, Archie Manning's 18, Chucky Mullins 38. Peyton trying to wear a very tight Ole Miss jersey on that show. Wasn't very comfortable for him. Here's John Rice Plumlee, who is currently wearing number 10, is allowed by the good graces of Eli Manning to continue wearing it through the end of the season.
That jersey Peyton wore was not as tight as the helmet that he wore the first week of the Peyton Eli broadcast. That was painful to watch.
What a nice weekend it was for the Manning family. The last name Manning painted in each end zone in Oxford. On 2nd and 5, play action pass. Corral is a man wide open. And it's a first down for Ja'Cour Pearson, well into Auburn territory. They're going to mark him out at the 40-yard line, and Ole Miss running quickly to the ball.
Great protection. This is a long layered route.
They
wide open.
So quickly, nobody out there covering Pearson on the other side. So back-to-back big plays, and the tempo there really a problem for the Auburn Tiger defense.
And one of the things we haven't mentioned yet, Jeff Levy, the offensive coordinator, he calls plays based on where bodies end up. That's why he can go so fast.
28-yard play, 23-yard play.
And what I mean by that is if the receivers are on one side of the field, rather than call a play where they have to change, he calls a play or a formation to keep them on the same side of the field so they can go extra fast. Now, they might still motion or do something different, but when they want to go tempo, they're going to call the play, the next play, based on where bodies end up at the end of the previous play.
Those were the two longest plays of the night, back-to-back for Ole Miss, 28 and 23. Both to Ja'Cour Pearson, senior from Fort Lauderdale, transfer from Western Kentucky. 2nd and 10, 7 minutes to go, third quarter. Down the seam and incomplete. Trying again for Casey Kelly. The Rebels want a flag. Zacoby McClain running in coverage.
Well, I thought McClain had his right hand around the receiver. I think they could have called something there.
Or spoke Monday in coverage. Third down and 10. You wonder if they get nothing here, if they'll settle for a field goal. Again, the false start.
Now it's 3rd and 15.
It looked like, unlike the Auburn center who snapped it too soon on their last possession, the center held on to it too long this time.
Offense. Everybody move hard to snap. 5-yard penalty. Nice third down.
So now you're wondering if Lane was planning to go for it on 4th down and they gave him a number of how many yards they need on 4th down. That changes now on this 3rd down play. Because let's say it's 3 yards, you're going to go for it. That means now you got to try to get 12 on this 3rd down play.
Yes, you said you'd always like to get the first down, but a lot of times their play calling is just to get them to that distance to go where they can go for it on 4th down based on the analytics.
I think you need points here, though, if you're Lane Kiffin.
Late flag thrown on the run. Snoop Connor, he got hit hard at the 14-yard line.
They're going to get the left tackle, Nick Broker, for a hold. This is a good run. It would have set up a field goal. Now they're going to back up again.
62.
They said 62, 64 is who they got.
Yeah, they don't have a 62 out there.
This was a safe play, a good run. You kick a field goal, you're one possession down at 28-20. Now you got to try to get back into a decent field goal range with a throw here instead of a run.
Yeah, they're on the fringe now of field goal range at the 32. It would be a 49-yard field goal from here. Cost is long, and bear in mind this is his first season as a true freshman, is 50. That was in Oxford against Arkansas. They faked the run. Corral as a man breaking open, and the pass was off target. Dennis Jackson targeted for the first time tonight. Corral couldn't hit him. And the field goal unit is coming on to try to get within a score. They get an 8-point game.
Again, how important negatively some of those penalties. I mean, if he makes this, it all is forgiven, and you're one possession behind, but you put extra pressure now on this freshman kicker because of the backward penalties.
1 for 1 tonight, 8 for 10 for the year. Has the leg to get it from here. There's a very light breeze at his back. Really shouldn't be a factor, and he drives the hook through. Low hook. You like when you hit those off the tee, they tend to run down the fairway. That one ran into the net. So it's a one-score game. Those are the first points of the third quarter. 6.5 to go.
Wow. That dude was rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
Yes, he was. They weren't going to catch him. He could have gone a lot longer and not have been caught. One-score game here. Nehemiah Pritchett brings back the Costa kickoff. Flags from way out near midfield. 2 of them, in fact.
Seems like every kickoff return we've got a penalty.
.30-yard return, but that could be coming back. Ole Miss has been penalized 6 times before this flag, which is probably against Auburn.
Holding, receiving team number 22. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Fourth flag on Brian Harson's team. It was interesting to talk to him yesterday how comfortable he is here. You know, it seemed like an interesting move.
Yep.
Grew up in Boise, played at Boise State, was the head coach at Boise State. They loved living there. He said, my wife Kess and I and our 3 kids, we knew what we were leaving.
Yeah.
Said, but it was as much as anything about the chance to compete at the highest level. The SEC, he believes, is the highest level of college football. He said, not just come to hope to have a chance, to come and win championships, SEC championships, national titles. As he said, it's been proven it can be done here.
Well, and I think when he said where you can have a chance, it's about resources, it's about facilities, it's about recruiting base, and they have all that here at Auburn. You can win at the highest level in this league and recruit at the highest level in this league here at Auburn. And I think that's professionally. I think from a personal standpoint, he's a very heavy, family-oriented guy, and the feel here at Auburn in this community is very family-oriented as well.
To the 14-yard completion to Kobe Hudson. Jarquez Hunter tripped up by Jake Springer. Here we saw the video from last night, the Harson family at the Auburn High School game cheering on Davis, Brian and Kess Harson's son. And Brian told us yesterday, my family loves it here. That's a big move. He's still a young man, just 44 years old.
Yep.
Bo Nix and Shanker breaking open. Actually had the receiver deeper cutting open as well. Javarius Johnson got the pass off target.
This is good work in the pocket by Bo Nix. Good footwork. He's got the double post working. Could have gone either way. Just kind of threw it in between them. You know, it was too far for Shanker and too short for Johnson.
And Auburn, after 28 points in the first half, has done next to nothing on offense here in the third quarter. Crowd booing as Cedric Johnson goes down with an apparent cramp. Sophomore from Mobile, Alabama, one of 16 Rebels playing in his home state here in Alabama tonight. And while they take a look at Cedric, here's Matt Berry.
Well, that'd be a big win for Mike Leach and Mississippi State. They can hang on and win that one. Kentucky playing really good football.
And they'd quietly be 5-3.
Yeah.
Mississippi State. Johnson now.
Just don't give him any candy corn for Halloween.
I was just going to say that. He's going to
like
go out and celebrate with a lot of candy, but not candy corn.
Right. Anything but candy corn.
He gives a very interesting interview.
Post-game interviews with him are must-watch TV.
So here's 3rd down and 9. I don't think that was intentionally trying to slow down Auburn because the offense hasn't been in any rhythm at all. Davius Robinson comes in to take his place. Nix over the middle and broken up. Intended for Cedric Jackson, well covered by Dean Leonard, one of the 3 Canadians. He's from Calgary. On this Ole Miss team, they have more players from Canada than any SEC team.
You know, Terrell Buckley, who was a great cornerback in college at Florida State, Green Bay. He's the cornerback coach here. I asked him before the game, who's your best guy? He says 24. I mean, he's from Canada. He's still learning how to play, but each week he gets better. He has a chance to be really special.
So a missed field goal and now 3 punts here in the third quarter for Auburn. Another good punt by Oscar Chapman. Too good all the way into the end zone. Here's another Australian. Tuesday, the first exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the team will have the breakdown from top to bottom, reaction from coaches, a live interview with Gary Barta, who's the chairman of the committee. His team has hit a rough patch after a great start. Iowa lost again today at Wisconsin. That show comes your way Tuesday night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the app. No doubt Georgia's going to be number 1.
Yeah, no doubt.
It'll get interesting thereafter. Interesting to me to see where they have Cincinnati.
Yeah. The last 2 weeks, a little bit lackluster. I mean, wins, but not stylish wins.
Henry Parrish in what is now a 1-score game. They've twice trailed by 11 points tonight, have the Rebels. Smoke Monday stopped him, but they got 6 on first down.
Still under 100 yards rushing for Ole Miss. So Auburn doing a pretty solid job defensively against this powerful Ole Miss run game. Again, coming into the game, 263 yards a game, best in the SEC, 3rd in the country behind a couple triple option military schools.
Looked like Monday was lined up offside.
Double
there
pass.
is a flag. This is going to be
throw it again.
Trick play. Corral zips one, and after all that, it's incomplete. But it did look like Smoke Monday was up along the line of scrimmage, was offside.
Drummond he's not good either. He's coming back out of the game. I think they had him in there for that play
Offside.
because that's the guy they worked on it with.
The 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
So that means none of their 3 receivers who Lane Kiffin raved about as the best group of 3 in the country, Mingo, Drummond, or Sanders, available. We only remember seeing Sanders on the field for 1 play early in the game. So on the penalty, 1st and 10, 5 Auburn penalties now. Henry Parrish a long way before he ran into any traffic. He fought his way ahead for almost 8 yards. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Todd was right. Drummond only went in for that play. Lane Kiffin told me he wanted to do that trick play.
Corral airing it out. Single coverage and incomplete. Trying to get it to Dennis Jackson, and there's a flag thrown from the center of the field. Back judge and field judge are going to talk about it. It was Jalen Simpson in coverage.
Matt Corral is extremely accurate on intermediate throws, not as accurate on the deep ball. That ball looked like it was headed to the sidelines.
It was the back judge who threw it, Michael Watson. I think he might have been talked out of it by the field judge, Daniel Gautreau, because the ball's coming back to the line of scrimmage.
Pass interference, offense number 5. 15-yard penalty, previous play.
Wow.
Second down.
And again, Todd, this would be a ball thrown to somebody else if they had healthy receivers, not Jackson. Oh boy.
Come on, he just put his hand on it. That's not pass interference. The ball's thrown out of bounds. Pick that flag up.
So it's 2nd and 17, the 7th penalty against Ole Miss, and they operate out of the pistol with Snoop Connor, the running back. Corral has some running room, slides down. They're going to spot it where he started the slide at the 31, so they'll need 10 more. Lane Kiffin there in the background thought they might have a big play there on the deep shot. Instead, they got penalized.
You can see these receivers, they're a little confused. It's new groups in there trying to get lined up.
They are deep down the depth chart at wide receiver, and they still make a play. It's Ja'Cour Pearson into Auburn territory to the 44-yard line. Smoke Monday made the tackle. A gain of 26. Pearson had only 9 catches all season entering tonight.
Yeah, now 6. They had 3 receivers to the field. They had Pearson alone into the boundary, and they went to the single receiver. And now all of a sudden, Ja'Cour Pearson is the go-to guy for Matt Corral.
Jalen Simpson apparently has a cramp, starting corner. Sophomore from Brunswick, Georgia.
Working the short side of the field, working against the best cover guy that Auburn has. Roger McCreary is an elite cover corner, can play boundary or field, and that time Pearson beat him, and Matt Corral got him the football. McCreary had a big game in the win in Oxford last year. Had an interception in the end zone. Also snuffed out a fake field goal attempt. Made the tackle on that play. He's an outstanding player, but that time Pearson got the better of that matchup.
Little guy, 5'8", 190, but having a career night. That's 109 yards receiving now on 6 catches. He had 9 catches all year for 84 yards. Never had more than 27 yards receiving in a game. But they are stepping up to help Matt Corral, who goes for another play action pass, pulls it down and runs, slides after it seemed he crossed the line to make, although they're going to mark it back.
Yeah, just short.
At the 34-yard line.
Smart by Matt Corral. We've seen him lower his shoulder and fight for extra yards, but he needs to stay in the football game and stay upright. That's why he's sliding in the middle of the field right now.
Snoop Connor, patient run, first down. Well, both coaching staffs thought Corral would run the ball on design runs much more often than he has tonight. But with 2 bad ankles now, that part of the playbook is certainly limited for Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby. Nice mix of run and pass on this drive. They need 8 to tie. Corral in a crowd threw it away.
Good coverage downfield by Auburn. He had enough time to make an initial read and throw. Nowhere to go with the football and smartly threw it away out of bounds. John Rice Plumlee is getting a lot of reps, again, because of the injury situation at wide receiver. He's usually a spot guy in there. He's playing significant reps right now in the second half.
I wonder if they could get the ball to him on some sort of handoff or short pass. We've seen when he played quarterback, he can really run. Second and 10, over the middle, Casey Kelly. First down, 16-yard line. Their coaches raved about Kelly, tore an ACL skiing in January. They didn't think they'd have him back this year. He was back by week 4.
Auburn looks lined up off sides.
Too hot to handle, a little too high for John Rice Plumlee. The former starting quarterback, but with the coaching change, Matt Corral beat out Plumlee for the starting quarterback job, and John has made the transition to wide receiver.
Terrific athlete, also was a part of the Ole Miss baseball team.
As is Jarian Ely. He didn't play baseball this past year. He had a shoulder surgery, which actually gave Plumlee more playing time on the diamond. Parrish might be one of those play calls, Todd, that we talked about, designed to get Lane Kiffin closer to the distance he needs to be to go for it on 4th down. 3rd down and 6. They're on the 12 and a half. Corral zips it into traffic, incomplete. Not many big targets down there in the red zone. That's Pearson. Well, 1:13 to go, 3rd quarter. It's 4th down and a long 6th, and they're going to go for this.
Yeah, the only thing that's tough on going for it is he just doesn't have his normal guys out there. I mean, so Casey Kelly maybe is the most reliable target that he has on the field right now, and he's right here.
It's a small group out there. Is it a design run? It's a timeout first by Auburn.
Snap. Timeout. Auburn.
And you saw the frustration in Lane Kiffin. I think he thought they had something on that play.
I wonder if Lane will change his mind here and settle for 3 points. Again, we got a whole quarter of football to play. It is a 1-possession game. Looks like he still wants to go for it. But, you know, again, you don't have Drummond. Even that last play that missed on 3rd down, the concept was good. The route was open, but you could tell that Pearson just wasn't comfortable running that route. He just didn't get to a stationary spot. So now you got 4th down. It's significant yardage. Who do you go to? I think it's Casey Kelly. Is maybe you got to do something to have him in the mix here.
No Braylon Sanders, no Dontario Drummond, bigger targets. Their best receivers, Jonathan Mingo, not even on the trip. But even depleted, he's still going to go for it. Don't know what the book says, but Lane Kiffin described going over the book. He said, sometimes I will go for it if it's a little beyond what the analytics book says we should do. This might be one of those instances. They faked it to Plumlee. Corral had to throw it and threw it out of the back of the end zone.
Well, this is a
Colby Wooden who applied the pressure.
This is a bust up front. Colby Wooden just came untouched. He lined up in the defensive line. Here he is right here. Nobody's going to block him. And he is right into the lap of Matt Corral. I mean, you just can't whiff on that play and miss that block. And Matt Corral didn't even have time to set his feet and make any semblance of a good throw. Nice pressure by Colby Wooden, but nobody blocked him either.
Well, Lane Kiffin yelling, "That's two." Not exactly sure what he's upset about. That, in his opinion, has happened twice and didn't go their way. Neither team can find offense here in the third quarter. Bo Nix on target to Shedrick Jackson. Chopped down by Tylen Knight. It's a first down. On a gain of 14. And Nix again under center. Something he had done very little in his football career prior to this year. Bigsby. Tank Bigsby to midfield.
Really nice blocking by the left side. Bigsby hits the hole and shows the acceleration, breaks out of the tackle of A.J. Finley.
Bigsby up to 124 yards after a 24-yard gain. He planted his leg awkwardly, went down. Fortunately, he's not hurt. Stuck a foot in the ground. It did rain here. Little sprinkle earlier today. We've had little light rain during the game. There are some chunks of this beautiful field starting to come up. A lot of chances for Lane Kiffin to be closer than the 8 points by which his team trails as we go to the fourth. All right, Matt, at least 15 minutes to go here. Auburn leading 28-20 as we go to the fourth quarter. They have it 2nd and 11. From just shy of midfield. Bo Nix on the rollout. John Samuel Shankert chopped down in the open field to the 46-yard line. Good tackle by Tylen Knight.
Yeah, this Ole Miss defense looked like they were going to get run out of Jordan-Hare in the second quarter. They've really settled down. I mean, they've played much better, had a good third quarter. DJ Durkin's team with another third down opportunity here. Again, it's not a dominant defense, but compared to what they've been the last few years, it's a much more physical defense, a much improved defense. Getting after the quarterback, they have not taken the ball away, but that's something they've done well all year.
Auburn 3 out of 8 on third down, just a 3-man rush. And Nix throws to the sideline. It's caught and out of bounds. Where are they going to mark it? First, the official stopped back by that black line. DJ Durkin, the defense coordinator, said, you mark the ball back here. Now they're moving it 4 yards ahead. And that could be huge. That could be the difference between going for it and not going for it.
Did he step out of bounds after the catch? There, no. I think that's where they first said he went out. That's when they first blew the whistle. I think they felt he stepped out of bounds. But forward progress gives him this in 4th and 2. Auburn going.
Will they snap it? Yes, they will. Straight ahead. Jarquez Hunter has the first down. DJ Durkin still hot. And they shouldn't have given him forward progress. He bounced off the hit, stayed on his feet, circled back, kept running.
Yeah, I don't get it. Of course, that's a rule that I have trouble understanding all the time anyway, the forward progress.
Well, we'll bring in Matt Austin on that one in a moment. Maybe have another look at it because that was a big play. 39-yard line. Now they're getting close to field goal range, which would put it back to a 2-score game. They want a touchdown. It's Kobe Hudson inside the 15.
Good protection. Play action pass. 3-man route. Hudson on the deep in route.
KD Hill again down after the 24-yard completion to Hudson.
You're running a guy off with your outside receiver. Hudson's running the in from the slot. Really well done. And that's, again, that's the play that Bo Nix in the pocket, good footwork, step and deliver the ball right on target.
Let's bring in Matt Austin and go back and take a look at that 3rd down play. And Matt, what say you? The catch made at the 42. He gets shoved back.
He did. The receiver's coming back to catch the ball, and he shoved backwards where he stepped out of bounds. Had he just stayed on his feet, I think they would have made him get back up to his original spot. But since the pushback caused him to step out of bounds, that killed the play. It's just like him being down on the field, which you would give him the forward progress spot.
So they got it right. Crowd booing as Hill walks off.
Yeah, another one of those situations where I don't think the crowd understands. Ole Miss does not want KD Hill out of the game. They're not trying to slow Auburn down. KD Hill, a very important cog in the middle of that Ole Miss defense.
You hate to accuse anybody of faking an injury, but that one looked a little suspicious live.
They only have 10 guys on the field. Ole Miss has to call timeout. They don't have 11 on the field.
Timeout. Ole Miss.
As we go to the break, here's KD Hill just walking right along, looks toward the sideline, all of a sudden, oh! Rolls down onto the ground. Tonight, SEC Football Final has you covered with all the biggest stories of the day and breakdowns of all the games. Dari Noka hosts with Gene Chizik, Chris Doring, and Benjamin Watson. After number 12 Kentucky and Mississippi State over on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. So after the Ole Miss timeout, 1st and 10 Auburn. At the 15-yard line, 8th play of the drive. Nix pressure, dumped it off. Short gain to the tight end, Luke Deal.
Nice play by Chance Campbell, their leading tackler. Transfer from Maryland. KD Hill apparently okay, back in the ball game.
Not surprised. Nix. They like that action down by the goal line. He fumbled it out of bounds. Might have cost himself the 1st down.
Yeah, he did. He fumbled it back, lost a couple yards. 3rd down and about a yard and a half.
The spot of the fumble for 2nd down.
I think it's 3rd down. There you go.
Here's 3rd down and 2. I'd have to think here, Todd, not 4-down territory because the field goal puts you back up by 2 scores. They spent a lot of time in the huddle. They snap it with 3, and Jarquez Hunter stayed on his feet, fought hard, did not get the 1st down. Sam Williams stood him up and got some help as well.
Tell you, the other guy that was in there was Mark Robinson, number 35. He came in there and made great contact, physical hit in the hole, and a great stand right there for Ole Miss to force the field goal attempt. It'll still be a 2-possession game if Auburn is able to connect here, but a field goal much better result than a touchdown if you're DJ Durkin in the Ole Miss defense.
Carlson doinked one off the right upright from 43. This is from 23.
Play of game, offense, Cardinals now. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Well, it'll be a 28-yard field goal attempt.
Shouldn't be a problem for Carlson. Another great student. He was an academic All-American. We mentioned the professional flight management program that Nick Brahms, the center, graduated in. As did Carlson, with a 3.92 GPA. Of course, you want your pilot to get the vast majority of it right, and apparently Carlson did. And he got the field goal right as well, especially the important parts. 28-yard field goal, back to an 11-point lead for Auburn. 10:52 to go in the loveliest village on the Plains.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff semifinals. Friday, December 31st on ESPN.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by the Eat Fresh Refresh at Subway and in part by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
As always, a number of great looks from the progressive pylon cam tonight. What a great venue this is. One of our favorite places to go. We have a great vantage point.
I love it because when we come to here to do a game, we get to stay at the Auburn Hotel. We can walk to and from the game, through the tailgating, through the campus. It is one of my all-time favorites.
87,451, a sellout here in the 12th largest stadium in college football, Jordan-Hare Stadium. So let's go back. You know, one of the things that college football is trying to get rid of is fake injuries. KD Hill, we showed you the replay. It looked like he was fine. All of a sudden he flops down onto the ground for the second time tonight. Now there was a timeout, but let's bring in Matt Austin. Even though Ole Miss used the timeout, Matt, he still has to sit out a play, right? And he did not, as we're seeing right now.
Yes, that is correct. In the old days, you could. They changed the rule several years ago. If you're injured, you got to sit out for at least one play, no matter what happens. Timeout does not buy you back in.
So he should not have been allowed back in there. Snoop Connor on first down. Picks up another first down with an 11-yard run. Out of bounds far sideline at the 36.
Ole Miss still well below their normal rushing proficiency, 141 yards now, but Matt Corral just so limited on the weapons that he has to throw the football to. He's down his top 3 receivers. Pearson has become his leading receiver. And they got to still hope that they can run the football because they've got 3 really talented backs.
And he's their best rusher, their leading rusher for the year, but he's playing now on 2 injured ankles after he was in a lot of pain early in the game. Here's a design run for him. And again, tackled around the ankle. It seems like they always find it when that's what's bothering you. He came up a yard short of the first down.
That time they faked the play they ran on first down, the quick toss to Connor, and it was a quarterback keep.
And Connor, their short yardage specialist, not just that, but particularly effective in that role, gets to the 48 in a first down. They're down by 2 scores, so they need to keep the pace up, and that's not a problem for them.
I think what we might see also is that fake toss where he backs up and throws the football.
I heard Lane Kiffin say at the half he would run Corral as much as he needed to. That's a beautiful throw to Dennis Jackson, who spins his way down inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. 28-yard gain.
Good pocket that time for Matt Corral. 7-man protection kept the tight end and the running back in. And that bought Corral extra time for that crossing route. You see 81 Kelly, the tight end. Connor, a better job stepping up, taking on a linebacker. And Matt Corral with a good pocket, able to step into this throw and get the first down.
25-yard gain, first catch of the night for Dennis Jackson. This is the SEC on ESPN from Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn, Alabama. Big game in the SEC West. Matt Corral early in the game, scrambling away from pressure. Looked like he severely injured his left ankle. Went to the locker room, came back, and he has played well, despite the fact he's without his three best wide receivers. Down by 11, but on the move again after the run fake. The strike to the tight end. Casey Kelly's having a big night. On the previous play by Darius, Knighton came off the field with what looked to be a pretty serious ankle injury. He turned it so significantly we don't even want to show you the replay. He did walk off, and now there are two injured secondary players, Zion Puckett and Smoke Monday.
You know, this play is something Ole Miss does a lot. It starts with a great fake by Corral and an arc release by the tight end. But watch the fake right in here. That's what's going to hold these linebackers and open up that seam for the tight end. The fake holds the linebackers, and there's a nice throwing lane because of the tight end's release and the good fake. And they've hit that play 2 or 3 times tonight to Kelly for good yardage. There's the two guys that are down at the end of the play, involved in the tackle on Casey Kelly.
That would be 3 members of their secondary taken out on 2 plays. Career night, by the way, for Casey Kelly. You wonder where do they go with the ball without Mingo, without Drummond, without Sanders. It's been Kelly, career high in catches and yards, with 6 catches for 76 yards. Here's Matt Berry. So here are the leading receivers tonight, and bear in mind Ja'Cour Pearson had 9 catches for the entire season coming into tonight through the first 7 games. Has 6 tonight, career high 109 yards, and as we mentioned for Casey Kelly, career highs in catches and yards.
Yeah, Pearson not familiar with this offense or playing a lot. However, he played a lot at Western Kentucky, right? A lot of catches in 3 years of playing there. So he's a guy who's played a lot of football. He's just been forced into action in a more significant role for this Ole Miss offense in the ballgame tonight.
Well, Corral won't have the big numbers tonight in all likelihood, but this is impressive given what he's working with. Trying to escape the rush, and he did. Sets and fires into traffic. A terrible mistake. Threw back over the middle, and it's picked off by Jalen Simpson.
Because he was rolling to his right, his field vision was cut in half. Simpson is going to just play it. He rolls to the right, he gets away from pressure. Now he only sees half the field. He doesn't see Simpson coming from behind the play. A dangerous throw anyway, back towards the middle. That's one Matt Corral probably should have just thrown out of the back of the end zone and lived to fight another day. And Lane Kiffin knows it. You just can't make that throw, and Matt Corral has not made many bad decisions. Only his 2nd interception of the whole season, but that one incredibly costly, just trying to do too much in that situation.
First interception of the season for Jalen Simpson. Tank Bigsby smothered at the 24-yard line, a gain of 4. So an 11-point lead and the ball, and under 9 minutes to go now for Auburn. Rare mistake by Corral. We showed you at the top of the telecast his 15 touchdown to 1 interception ratio, among the very best in the country, as you would imagine. Hard to be much better than that. He also has a streak of 19 straight games with throwing a touchdown pass that is in serious jeopardy now. 2nd longest in school history. Chad Kelly, 22 in a row. Cedric Johnson leading the defense on the stop of Tank Bigsby. Here's 3rd down for Auburn, which has scored only 3 points here in the second half, but right now it's enough. Zion Puckett going to the locker room.
I would expect to see some kind of pressure here from Ole Miss. DJ Durkin, 3rd and 5. Try to make Bo Nix get rid of the football before he wants to.
Big play here. Nix wide open. Sean Shivers, first down, fighting all the way across the 40. Where they didn't rush very aggressively and still left a wide open receiver.
They played man coverage, and the safety, Otis Reese, was responsible for the back, but the ball was out so quick, Otis Reese couldn't get there until the first down was easily made. See the safety trying to get to the back? By the time he got there, first down was easily converted.
The excellent call by Mike Bobo, former head coach at Colorado State. Here's Hunter for nothing. He and Brian Harsin familiar with each other, in part because they coached against each other regularly when they were the head coaches at Colorado State and Boise State. And they were offensive coordinators at Georgia for Bobo, Harsin at Texas. They spent time visiting each other during spring practice and compared notes. A lot of respect between those two men, and they're forming a very nice tandem here in their first year together at Auburn. Here's Kobe Hudson. And I didn't believe Mike Bobo. I didn't believe Brian Harsin, I should say. Ball was out. Looked like he was down.
No, they're
going to ruin
a
takeaway by Chance Campbell.
Well, again, the two things that this Ole Miss defense has done really well this year, rush the passer and take the football away. They hadn't been successful doing that so far. I think it was the ball was out. Yeah, Prince is the guy who ripped the ball out, and Chance Campbell is the guy who comes up with it. The receiver was stood up. DeAndre Prince rips the ball out.
Going on the field with a fumble and a change of possession. The previous play is under review.
Need to look at it again. Was his knee down before the ball came out? Prince on the tackle. He's fighting for the ball. Hard to see from that angle where the ball was.
There's the ball coming out there, and he's still on his feet. Great play by Prince. This turnover is very likely to stand after the replay review. DeAndre Prince with the strip. Much needed takeaway by the Ole Miss defense. Second Auburn turnover. They had the muff punt. Chance Campbell credited with the fumble recovery. First and 10. Ole Miss from its own 47, down by 11 points with 6:27 to go and 2 timeouts. Bad snap. Corral turned it into a 2-yard gain. Looked like perhaps he was going to hand it off to the speedy John Rice Plumlee. Plumlee goes in motion again. Slant caught. Pearson continues his huge night. He gets collared at the 25-yard line. First and 10, Ole Miss. Jalen Simpson, who was injured earlier, back on the field, made the tackle, the gain of 26, 18 after the catch.
He's very accurate on that slant route.
And that one a little bit too far out in front of Dennis Jackson.
You know, the motion by Plumlee opens that up, and then the nice slant route shows that number 0 to the quarterback. And Matt Corral throwing that slant route, probably the best route he throws.
Has a strong arm for sure. Traffic at his feet. Took the check down to the tight end, Kelly. Out of bounds at the 20. I think they're at the point here down by 2 scores. If they don't get it, they need to kick the field goal.
Absolutely. You need 2 scores. So, I mean, you want the touchdown, but you got to take points here.
Parrish 2 yards short of the line to make. Colby Wooden made the tackle.
But because he ran on that 3rd down play, I think he's going for it. Maybe he thinks this is the best opportunity for the touchdown, being this deep in territory, but you need 2 scores.
You see Matt Lindsley looking at that analytics book right behind Lane, as if to say, I'm not sure that's what the book says here. Most coaches would kick and make it a 1-score game. Lane isn't most coaches. Corral with flags down, up for grabs and incomplete.
I would imagine he will be kicking now. I think this is a hold on the tight end, Hudson Wolf, number 87. That's going to go against Ole Miss.
In which case they turn it over on downs.
Yeah. Yep.
Eligible downfield, offense number 81 will be declined. Also holding number 87 offense is additionally declined. Goal to play, first down.
I mean, I get it. I get that he likes to do that. I get that he goes by the analytics. But you're 2 scores down. You have a chance to make it 1 score down again.
Well, he told us a funny story about when he was at Alabama, tried to convince Nick Saban to lean on the book a little more. And this is an example of why Nick Saban would tell him where he could throw the book. Yeah, Nick's probably done fine without leaning so heavily on the analytics book. But you needed a score there.
Yep.
But I think his decision making is because of the yardage they needed to make, and that was Bigsby ahead for 3, and all the other factors that go into it. The book probably said you have a 78% chance of making the first down, and that's why he went for it.
Again, the biggest analytic to me is that you're 11 points down.
I completely agree. And he said he did go against the book last week on a 4th and 2 when he punted, where the book said go for it, because he felt great about the way his defense was playing. And they've played outstanding football here in the second half.
Yeah,
after
they really have.
Being dominated in the first half when they gave up 28 points. Bigsby runs for a first down. And time running out on Ole Miss as we check in with Matt Barry. All right, Matt, thank you. Approaching 3.5 to go. 2 timeouts remaining for Ole Miss. Bigsby had another big night against the Rebels, as he did in Oxford last year.
Timeout.
That carry gets him to 140 for this game, after he ran for 129 and 2 touchdowns in Oxford in a 7-point win for Auburn last year.
Tank Bigsby is not the biggest back or the most powerful, but he's run tough tonight. Run behind his pads, a lot of 2 tight end formations, power running. Offensive line is blocked well. This is an inside read. He can go anywhere he sees the crease. He shows you his vision. This one he's just going to do a nice job. It's supposed to go behind the tight ends to the right. He cuts it back and beats the unblocked defender. And then the last first down he just ran for Tank Bigsby with fresh legs, because they've played Shivers, because they've played Hunter. Your lead dog on this offense right now still has fresh legs in the 4th quarter.
23 carries total. He started the season with 3 straight 100-yard-plus games. That was against lesser competition, with the exception of Penn State in Game 3. But 119 against Akron, 122 against Alabama State, 102 at Penn State. but it averaged 46 yards per game since. Nix, another first down run to the 40-yard line.
And a smart decision to stay in bounds.
You know, I was starting to say right when there was that turnover, I didn't believe Brian Harsin when he said Mike Bobo grew up an Auburn fan. I said, wait a minute, he grew up in Georgia. His dad, a legendary high school coach. He played quarterback for the great Jim Donnan at Georgia. He said, I'm telling you, he grew up an Auburn fan. We asked Mike Bobo. He said, yes, I did. Yeah. My dad recruited some players from Auburn, and I came to the Pat Dye football camp when I was in the 4th grade and became an Auburn fan. And he was going to play at Auburn, but there were some NCAA things going on when it was time for him to decide where he was going to go. So he went to Georgia instead. But he had the evidence to prove.
Yeah.
But we didn't just have to take his word for it. Timeout after the Hunter run. That's the Pat Dye football brochure. And on the left there is Mike Bobo, circa 1988.
And I think the interesting thing, too, I think he went to some Auburn games growing up. He said the first Georgia game he ever went to was when he was dressed and on the roster. So he definitely did grow up as an Auburn fan.
And it worked out great for him because he and Jim Donnan remained very close. Jim Donnan gave him his start in coaching right after Mike was done playing. And he was involved in one of the great games in the history of the Georgia-Auburn rivalry. This was November 16th, 1996. It's too bad there's not sound up for the call of this touchdown on CBS. Bobo, who had been benched and didn't start the game, put back in the game. He hit Corey Allen for a 30-yard touchdown. As time expired to force overtime, it went 4 overtimes, the first overtime game in the history of the SEC. And Georgia beat the 20th ranked Auburn Tigers 56-49. Bobo threw for 360 and 2 touchdowns. It's also the game where Uga jumped at an Auburn player. Sean Shivers, the ball carrier. Looks like he got another first down, and that should just about put it away. Ole Miss out of timeouts. I was here for that game. It was an interesting broadcasting crew. The analyst was Mike Mayock, now the GM of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Right.
And the sideline reporter was Gus Johnson, legendary Fox play-by-play man now. Had a great call today on that Michigan State game. Going to be a key loss for Ole Miss with their hopes in the West, the SEC West, and obviously it doesn't help Corral's Heisman hopes. What an effort by Jarquez Hunter. And it looks like a little fight, perhaps some fatigue, the factor as well. A little fight has gone out of this Ole Miss defense now, worn down by these powerful runs by Bigsby and Hunter.
Yeah, Auburn now over 200 yards rushing. Bo Nix, second win now over a top 10 opponent. But I'm telling you, he is playing his best football as the Auburn quarterback. He got benched after a bad first half against Georgia State. He came back. He battled his way back. He started against LSU, led him to a win in Baton Rouge. Played well in defeat against Georgia, led him to a win at Arkansas. Played his best game then, and played another outstanding football game today, going head-to-head with Matt Corral of Ole Miss.
Next time to huddle up. He has thrown for 279 and a touchdown on 23 out of 31. He's rushed for 2 touchdowns.
You know what's really cool, too, is Mike Bobo told us, I mean, he knows Patrick Nix. They've known each other in coaching. Mike Bobo's son plays for Auburn High. Auburn High played Patrick Nix's team earlier in the year. It was right after that Georgia State game. And he talked to Patrick Nix after the game. He said there was no hard feelings. I'm just doing what's best for Auburn. He says, my son will be fine. He'll just keep fighting. He'll keep competing. And that's exactly what he did. And that's why Auburn is where they are right now, in control of their own destiny in the SEC West.
It's just them, the Tigers, and Alabama, with 1 loss now in the SEC West as Matt Corral and Ole Miss suffers its 2nd SEC loss. So Auburn controls its destiny, but a very tough schedule left. Next Saturday at Texas A&M. We've talked about Mississippi State playing better football. South Carolina struggling through the year, and then that could be the game for the West on November 27th, right here at Jordan-Hare Stadium when they host their rival Alabama. Auburn never trailed in the game. They go to 6-2 overall. Final score, the Tigers 31, the Ole Miss Rebels 20. For Molly McGrath, Todd Blackledge, and our great crew led by Josh Hoffman and Scott Johnson, Sean McDonough saying so long. Let's send you to Salt Lake City now. Here's Dave Fleming with Rod Gilmore and Stormy Bonatoni.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the Southeastern Conference.